It is a new year and it's time for a new upgrade. I want to put mud flaps on my 1995 Toyota Rav4 and fix up these inner linings. I'm also going to respray the back and the front bumpers, and I paid homage to the original acronym Recreational Active Vehicle with four-wheel drive to give it more 90s flavor. For the sake of simplicity, there will be 4 sections to this. I will firstly go over the custom vinyl lettering process. Secondly, the front bumper respray. Thirdly, the rear bumper respray and inner fender lining repair. And lastly, install the mudguards, mud flaps, splash flaps, whatever you want to call them. I created the custom lettering with a free image editor, then had it printed twice and slapped one on each side of the vehicle. Let's bring back the original meaning of Rav4. The first step to taking the bumper off is unscrew the indicator light. Pop it out and unclip this. There is another indicator, of course. The underside of the bumper requires a 10mm socket wrench to get most of the bolts out. But one particular bolt required an Allen key that I could only find in my bicycle tool. Ten screws and bolts were removed in total. A quick disclaimer, don't do anything that I do. The entire bumper then pulls it quite easily. Then I've got some superfine 1200 sandpaper. The whole bumper is getting a quick sanding to prepare the surface for the spray paints. And then a good wash. Foam party. Before spraying anything, I did a quick color match check on a small piece of plastic. The spray paint being used is a local brand. It dries quite quickly, and I find that grey is quite a forgiving color, especially when you're spraying grey on grey. So it's okay to use a rattle can.
Luke, I am your father.
Having a grey day. Screw the front bumper back on once the paint has dried. Six screws and bolts and a few clips need to be undone to get the rear bumper off. And then unscrew a few more to get the inner fender lining off. That has been ripped to shreds. I want to try to resurrect these linings. I'm taking 2 of these rusty old clips off these liners and replacing them with new ones. After sanding down the inner fender linings, I'll use rapid set epoxy to fix the cracks. The epoxy repairs on the lining are completed. Now it's going to get some shiny new clips. Back to the foam party. It looks like a spider or something had been breeding in here. The red reflector needs to come out before cleaning and painting the rear bumper. Give this a really good scrub because we're going to paint it too. The rear bumper is being sanded, rinsed, dried and painted just like the front bumper was. Déjà vu. Pop the reflector back in and screw the reflector back in place. When the rear bumper goes on, these two clips slot on here, and this back clip slots on over here. You just lightly tap it in. After a few more screws and bolts, everything is solidly back in place. The fender linings are being painted black to cover up the ugly repair work. Once the spray paint on the inner fender linings had dried, they could be screwed back in place. It's time to lightly sand and spray paint the mudguards because they need to match the bumpers, because that's just protocol. Now the carpet matches the drapes. Whoever made these mudguards made the holes for the screws massive, so I had to find washers large enough to compensate. I'm using 3 new screws that came with the mudguards and oversized washers to hold them in place. This is the rear mudguard, and there's space for a 4th screw here, but it's just hanging in the air, and this mudguard is completely secure, so it won't be needed. I'm glad that my mudguard says for Rav4 95 RR right rear. I have installed the correct part. There is a slight issue with the rear left mudguard. The exhaust pipe is in the way. It will have to be cut. Luckily, plastic is something that cuts quite easily. Problem solved. That looks quite neat. Fun fact, Toyota just cuts a giant hole in the mudguard on the 3-door version of the Rav4 for the exhaust to slot through. On the front right, there's a little open square that the mudguard is supposed to attach onto. So I'm just going to add a little stainless steel bolt so that it has something to screw onto. For the front mudguards, I've used the same old screws, just with larger washers. And I've added a new nut to a new bolt to keep it in place at the bottom. The mudguards are all in place, and the bumpers are back on. It is time to hit some dirty roads.